Should I get glasses or no glasses?
Oh. Can you see without glasses? I guess you don't need to see.
I don't really need to see. That's why I'm like, maybe this is my opportunity not to wear glasses.
Yeah. All right. We are going live. Okay. Just getting connected here. Bear with us. There we are. Hello, everybody. Hi, Passionistas. Happy Monday. Welcome to the Passionista Nation Expert Interview Series. So happy to be here. So excited to introduce our featured expert today, Shelly Howard. Shelly and I met on LinkedIn. That actually is truly one of my favorite places to meet amazing women, to then invite them into the Passionista Nation world. You know, Shelly's going to be talking about a really powerful topic I think that we all can benefit from, which is the truth about productivity and momentum. And then she's going to share some bonus tips around something really juicy and exciting that we'll share with you shortly. So welcome, Shelly. So excited for you to be here.
Thank you so much for your invitation. I look forward to our discussion.
Yeah, same here. All right, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Shelly's background. So she actually is the owner and president of College Ready. And she's a college graduate and a certified educational planner. Shelly has a son who graduated from Harvard in the spring of 2016, debt-free. And so I'm going to kind of go back and tell you that Shelly was a single mom. So I really resonated with that because I was a single mom for a long time. And, you know, she basically shared with me that her son said, "Mom, I want to go to Harvard. She was like, "Oh, okay." So her son now is currently third-year medical student at UC San Diego, and her daughter completed her freshman year at University of Alabama and will complete her nursing degree this year. So wow, lots of stuff going on there with the kiddos. Shelly has traveled around the world helping students plan for their perfect match college. She knows what it takes to compete in the Ivy schools, as well as finding the best fit for all students. Shelly believes that no two students are the same, and each student must have their own strategy and plan to be successful. Each student has a gift or talent and a passion that will set him or her apart from their competition. So getting to know your student one-on-one is the key to success. This can be done in person, or she utilizes Zoom. And College Ready has clients all over the world, and each one is important. Her focus is to find the best academic, financial, and social fit college for each student to thrive at the graduate, as a graduate, debt-free. And that's the key, debt-free. Man, I wish I would have met Shelly a while ago. We have our second child in college, and one that's going to be a senior in high school. But apparently you need to start a little bit earlier, as I heard from Shelly. So Shelly, I was just amazed when you shared your story about, you know, you really wanting to be able to help your son reach his dream in terms of college. And you took it upon yourself to figure out everything you needed to figure out to make that happen. And here you are today, solving this huge problem for a lot of families, a lot of students. So before we kind of dive into the questions around productivity and momentum, I would love for you to kind of share kind of what you shared with me, a little bit about your story and your journey and what led you to doing this amazing work that you're doing today.
Thank you so much. So my story is unique to me, but it touches on many people's hearts. I actually was married 27 years, and as my son was getting ready for college, preparing that, we went through, unfortunately, a divorce, and wanting to protect my kids from that, as a lot of moms can resonate with, I really took it upon myself on how can I launch them and get them ready for life and not have them focus on me and what's going on. So when my son came home from 8th grade, that's when all of the turmoil was starting. And he said, Mom, I want to go to an Ivy League school and I want to be a brain surgeon. And I went, of course you do. And I turned around and my heart is beating and I'm like, now what? And so, you become the mama bear, right? You become, I will figure it out for you. And he's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, neither do I. I went to college a long time ago and it was very different. Mm-hmm. And so at that moment, my life changed. I had already owned 4 businesses at that point, and I did not see this as a business opportunity. I saw it as, I have to help my son figure out how he's going to get where he wants to go. Long story short, I went back to school and got my master's degree. I traveled 25 colleges every quarter because I wanted to see it, feel it, touch it. And then he was kind enough to do what I recommended, which, as we know, not every student will listen to their parent. True. So I have other children that did not pan out for as well. But he did do what I suggested. And with that, when he graduated, had 7 full ride offers to Ivy League schools. Wow. Ended up going to Harvard for free. Thank goodness, because this single mom couldn't afford $63,000 plus a year. Yeah. And when he graduated, his very first job in life, he was making $106,000 a year. So the beauty is, it was a mom's mission. And that's how College Ready started, because once everybody found out what he got or was able to achieve, they all came to me, I want that. How do I get that? What do I do? And it just naturally grew into me helping friends and family. And then starting to look in, I like this. I love teenagers. I love helping them accomplish what they want for their future. And to do it without debt allows them to buy their first home, their first car, get married, and really not be choked by a noose of debt. And so I got on my high horse and my mission and jumped in with both feet in 2012. And since then, we've expanded. Our goal, our mission is to reach 1 million students. And that is a huge goal. But really that's what's most important to me. Most people don't think about, you would never pay full price for a home, but yet they'll pay full price for college. You would never pay full price for a car. You don't walk on a car lot and go, oh, I want that sticker price. But yet you'll go online and you're like, oh, college is going to cost me $75,000 a year. That doesn't need to be. And so my mission is return on investment. College is an investment. How do we help our children who don't understand what $300,000 in debt feels like? How do we help them stay away from that future? So you can tell I get super passionate about this because
I love it.
That's something important.
Yeah, it's huge. And first of all, I love your passion, and it just like exudes through you and out of you. And I think that's why you and I really resonated with each other, as we're both super passionate entrepreneurs. But yeah, I mean, I really think that there's so many people that can benefit in this area because they aren't educated around the fact that it even is possible to, be able to go to college debt free, right? I mean, there's so many ins and outs and things to know, right? So we're going to be talking a little bit more about that later, but we really want to tap into Shelley's brilliant business mind right now, because you have built an incredible business for yourself. And I mean, it's based, the foundation is all about that passion and really being of service and really helping. So I love that. That's what we're all about here at Passionista Nation. So I have some questions for you around the whole productivity and momentum topic that we're going to be talking about today. So can you shed some light on your thoughts around productivity and how we may have been misinformed on the concept of productivity and what it actually means?
Sure. So, I think some people are naturally planners. They're naturally, I call us visionaries. I think very high level, and the details I give to the appropriate people. So part of productivity, I believe, is knowing how to stay in your own lane and then give to others their gifts and their talents. So I can tell you, my assistant, she is like my everything truly. And she came as a complete gift to me because I was doing it all. I was wearing every hat in the business and I didn't like some of it. And on those days, I was not productive because I could procrastinate to have to write a blog like no other. Like that was not my area of passion. So I found out that if I really focus on my gifts and my talents and my areas that I'm passionate about, and then I bring in others to support what is not in my greatest area of strength, that's how you are productive. So when I sit down, I think about what do I want to do and what do I not want to do. And those things that I don't want to do, I find somebody who wants to do them. That is the number one way out of being stagnant or even procrastinating. So having the vision of the overall, what do I want from this? Who do I want to help? How do I want to do it? Figuring out what role I want to play and what role I absolutely don't want to play. So there's 11 people that make up College Ready. It is not me alone. It started with me very alone. And then I soon found out the benefit, and I didn't know how I was going to pay for them. Let's be honest, like it was scary. How was I going to pay for this other person when I was paying for my children and myself and all of that? I can tell you 100 times over, I figured it out. The way they were able to help make me productive and let me focus on the areas that I'm really good at allowed me to grow my business. I don't call it sales, I call it outreach. I've never had somebody tell me, oh, I want to pay full price to college, right? I've never had that happen. So if I focus on what I love, connecting to people, the sales naturally came. But where I got stuck in productivity, to be honest, is once they came, putting all of those pieces together to make that happen. And as soon as I was able to give that to the people who love details, oh my goodness, productivity happened. It was genius. And so I would say that would be the number one thing that I would recommend.
Oh, I love that. And I think that's a very scary thing for a lot of entrepreneurs because, first of all, maybe they are wanting to control every aspect of their business and afraid it's their baby and they don't want to give anybody else the responsibility. But you and I both know how silly that really is. And that, yes, we are focusing on our expertise, our genius zone, our brilliance, and really able to have the time to focus just on that. And like you said, delegate some of the other tasks that kind of just weigh us down and prevent us from really being fully of service with our unique gifts. Then, we're really just kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. So, but it is a kind of a leap. You have to trust in your vision for your business, trust yourself as a leader, right? and just know it's going to work out. And I remember the first time I hired my first team member, I felt like same thing like you, like, how am I going to pay for this person? But it's so interesting how it does work out. And I've seen this time and time again, where when you invest in yourself or in your business, it's basically like telling the universe that you're worth it and that you believe in your vision, and the universe or God or whatever you believe your higher power is will deliver. And so it's just, really trusting in that. And, of course you have to make smart decisions. And I think in the beginning, when you're doing everything, then being able to really discern, okay, like, what are the systems and processes, and get clear on that. So then when you do bring on your team member, you can easily direct them and give them the guidance that they need. And one of the things that I have found is I've seen people do this where they trust, oh, I need a social media expert, and this person's calling themselves an expert. And so they hire them and they totally let them just run the show without giving the proper guidelines or expectations of what you want. And then, months go by and, okay, what's the return on investment? Nothing's really happening here. And you realize that wasn't probably the best investment, but it was probably because you weren't giving them the proper guidance or direction. Have you experienced anything like that in your business?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's a leap of faith every time you invest.
Yeah.
And I've had some amazing business coaches and I've had some not so great. And a lot of it I have to take ownership of, because there have been times where I thought that they came in on the white horse and they were going to save me from the
Mm.
internet. And, and I'm like, yay, they're here. I don't have to do this anymore. And then all of a sudden you start to see, wait, my branding is off. Wait, they're not speaking my language. What is happening here? And that is because I pulled away. And so even as a leader, you have to have a pulse, or you have to have a vision for that. And
Yeah.
so I absolutely agree that that is a big part of it, is knowing where your strengths are and knowing, whatever that is, where you need support. You still have to have an investment of time as that person or people support you, because your team's only as good as their leadership.
Yes. So, how often, I'm just curious, because team is such a big part of what you do, how often do you meet with your team members to make sure that everyone's on board with the same mission and vision, and just kind of keeping sure that everybody is staying on track and moving towards the same goals? How often are you getting together with your team?
So my executive assistant, we talk probably 20 times a day.
Okay.
Like, I mean, texting back and forth, there's
Yep.
always something. But my certified college consultants actually go through 6 weeks of training, and
Mhm.
we're checking in with them every week and making sure that they're understanding what is important in our vision. So by the time they're finished, they know book wise what's important. Then we put them through training where they listen to me, I lead them, they lead me, and then we form this alliance of having the same mission.
Mhm.
Then once they graduate from that, then we meet every Monday to start our week off, and we always start off with team building or something fun. And then we kind of get into the weeds of what's going on in the world of college admission, which is blowing off the lid right now. So
Yes.
and then they email me as needed whenever. But really, my executive assistant takes the, I hate to say, the brunt of it. She's really the hub to our wheel. She's been with me for years, and so she knows. We created my process and procedures together. So she is very in tune to what's important and what is not. And so she'll shield me a lot of the time, or she'll ask me a list versus constant, shots. And it's really what works well for me. I'm a huge communicator. I would rather over communicate than under communicate. And so I welcome it at every level.
Mm, I love that. So you were talking about your executive assistant kind of taking the brunt of things, and jokingly, yes, that's an interesting way to look at it. But in reality, like, you are the leader of your business, and you have a huge mission to fill, right? You want to serve 1 million students all over the world. So you have to really preserve your energy, and like you said, and focusing on the things that are really going to move the needle for your business. And if you're getting drugged down and bogged down with all the little, things that happen in the business, and it kind of drains your cup, and you don't have the energy to really be there as a leader fully for your business, then that's not going to do anybody good. So I love the fact that you now have built a team that you trust. Yes, you can't just, forget about them. You're staying in communication with them, but you trust them to kind of do their part. I think that's the coolest thing, when you really understand what their gifts and their value is, and you let them kind of run with it and do what they do well. And then you just kind of guide them and lead them. And I think that's the power of a great leader. And then it allows you to have the time to really build your business and reach the people that you're meant to reach. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. I would say, probably productivity wise, I bring in people who can do it better than myself. I think that was really hard for me when I was younger. And as I mature in the business, I'm okay with saying, you know what? I don't want to edit essays. That is your gift, your talent, your strength, and you love it. Absolutely take that and run with it. And
Yeah.
so then I train them in how I like it, because they already have the skill. I train them in the college ready way, but now they're doing what they're good at and they love it. So everybody, it's kind of a win-win as I look at it. So for me, I think
Yeah.
that's a really important piece, is being
Yeah.
okay with not being the best.
Yes, that's so key. All right, so why is momentum so important to ensure that you are able to remain productive, I should say, day to day? Tell us a little bit about your thoughts around momentum.
Yeah, momentum for our team starts with a vision board. We work on it together virtually, because I have client or consultants all over, but we sit down and we do a lot of vision and planning at the very beginning. So that's kind of our foundation of where we're headed. And then I ask them to dream bigger than they've ever dreamt. And I want them to really allow themselves all the time, the money, the energy, everything that's holding them back, and just get rid of it and convince themselves that they've got all of that. Then once we go with that, it's momentum in that we're building upon that vision and that mission. And so it allows them to, question, is that the best way? It allows them, okay, that's working, where should we go next? So we never just look at, a perfect example is within 2 months of when I set my million client vision, I was featured on Fox 5 News and I hit 1 million people. I could have just been like, done. Okay, my mission is done. I'm good. But at that point, I'm like, okay, what's next? And I think always looking forward and not being comfortable in this has always worked, because COVID hit. If you're not moving forward and you're not pivoting and being ready to move, you're going to not be in a good place. So productivity, especially now, I tell all of my students, wake up, write down 3 things you will accomplish today, or you're not going to bed. And they look at me like, are you serious? I'm like, absolutely. 3 things. That's all you have to do. And first one, make your bed. So we try to have fun with it. And same with my team. It's, I call them my team. I don't call this Shelley Howard's show at all. It's the college ready team. and we're only as good as our weakest link. And so I always believe in lifting as I climb and supporting them in any way that I can. And I think that's part of being productive.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, you said so much. So I think really that momentum piece, I mean, when you're really clear on your vision and the why behind why you're doing what you're doing, that kind of, you know, inspires you to want to take action. And it's with that action that you will start to, you know, gain that momentum. And, you know, a lot of times we want to get it perfect. So we're like holding back and not taking that action. But the only way to really get better is to take that action and then kind of assess, right? See what's working, what's not, and then keep moving forward that way, right? So yeah, it's all about action and moving forward, and then it just kind of keeps going. And I love how you shared about making your bed. And it sounds silly, but it's really developing those healthy habits in your own personal life, which is super easy to do. And then when you start developing healthy habits in your own life, then you can adopt those same type of habits in your business. And yeah, and so I think a lot of times when we're feeling stuck, it's either lack of clarity or maybe we're not motivated. But it's once we get clear and get excited and connected to the passion again, and then we just kind of think about, all right, what are the first things that I need to do, like the first 3 steps I need to take in order to start moving towards my goal, you know, that can put you into action, and then you can ultimately get into that momentum. I love it. So any other tips or strategies around you know, reaching your goals that you can share that have been helpful for you?
So one of my business coaches told me, don't eat the whole elephant, just take one bite at a time. I think for us entrepreneurs, especially women, we have a lot on our plate, right? We have so many things in our world that we feel like we need to control. And with that, it can be so overwhelming that you just shrink back and you just feel defeated and depleted. So I always say, first, take care of yourself. If you're not happy, healthy, feeling good, the rest is not going to happen. So that was probably the hardest thing for me to learn, because I am a workaholic by nature. My mom is, my dad is, they're both entrepreneurs. And I grew up in a world of mom and dad are always working, and we'll fit in fun when we can.
Yeah.
I learned early on that I don't want to grow old, look back, and be burnout. So I've started to take, especially during COVID, the first 3 months, I worked 18 hours a day because I was going to figure this out for my students. I was on a mission. I was not going to let this stop them from college, online school. I could fight it. I was like on fire mama bear mode, and I burned out huge. I got exhausted and felt just awful, especially staying at home. I'm a people person, and I couldn't see my kids. I couldn't touch them. I couldn't like feel their presence. And so I felt really, really depleted. And as soon as I started taking 2 days off, where I really took them off, it was a game changer, because I would come back and I would be on fire for my students again. And so I would say, take good care of yourself above all else, and really carve out that time for you. Exercise, eating well, feeling healthy, whatever that is in your world. I tried meditation, failed miserably, but I'm not going to give up. Busy mind. And
Yeah.
so and so that's what I learned early on. The next thing is, when you get overwhelmed, write down 3 things you could do right now to be successful. That was a huge game changer, because I kept feeling depleted, because I would tell my students one thing and then the next day colleges would change their mind. Oh, now we're going test optional. I'm like, but wait, I just told so-and-so that we weren't going. And so I kept feeling beat up by what was going on in my world,
Yep.
and trying to protect my people. And so what I've learned to do is, what 3 things can I be successful at today? And then
Mm.
the rest of the day is bonus. It's like icing on the cake. And I feel productive and moving forward versus stuck. And that would be the number one thing is get out of stuck. It's not fun.
Yes. I love that. So it really just having those, like you said, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Not that we actually eat
Yeah, I
elephants. It's
know.
kind of a
But
crazy
that's
saying, but
a metaphor.
we all get it. So like just starting with, okay, what are 3 things I could do today? So it doesn't have to be like you're solving the world's problems, but what are 3 things I could do today to start working towards my goals? And then something that I think that I wanted to add, like then celebrating those wins, or maybe at the end of the day recognizing your accomplishments and being grateful for what you did achieve, I think is really important too, because sometimes if you're not quite hitting the mark or reaching your goals or getting as many clients as you want or making the money that you want in the beginning, it could be frustrating and you get into that stuck mode. But if you are, setting these small goals and recognizing, what, I reached that, or, oh my gosh, I got an email from a client who said that, they had an amazing session or had a breakthrough or whatever, like recognize those wins and celebrate them, because that can kind of keep you going and excited, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's something that has worked for me. All right, so Shelly, I would love for you to share a little bit around, for those ladies that are listening that have students, have children that are middle school-ish, getting ready for high school is a perfect time, right? To start really thinking about college and prepping for college and making sure that your student has every advantage, and really how you can set them up for college success without losing your mind or losing your money. So I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but we probably have about um, uh, 5 to 10 minutes. If you can share a little bit about your best tips around where they might be able to begin or start that process.
Absolutely. It is a process and it's not like it used to be. So back in the day, I always like to talk about it because parents think, well, I just applied to 2 schools and I got into 2 schools and it was great.
Mm-hmm.
And, I paid $2,000 a semester and gone are those days. So I like to say, roll up your sleeves if you're going to do this yourself and be mindful. It is like a part-time job. So people ask, when should I start? I start as soon as your student is asking questions. What is college about? Why do I have to go? I get that a lot. And meet them where they're at. Students mature at very different ages. My son in 8th grade knew exactly what it meant because we had talked about it in our home as some of the best times of our life, right? We always post college as some of the best times of our life. And so it sounded like a cool thing to do. So fast forward, if you have a student who is in middle school and are making decisions in 8th grade about classes, what classes should I take? Should I do honors, language, all of that? That 8th grade year is going to set the pace for their entire high school program. So if they go down the wrong path, which means try to take the easy way, that is a hard path to get out of.
Mm.
So it's really important to be a part of that conversation. A
Yeah.
lot of people think, well, you know what? They need to mature. They need to figure it out. I don't have time for it. I don't want to get involved. And let me tell you, that is the scariest thing. It's like allowing your 17-year-old to buy you a home. I mean, grasp that for a moment, right? Same cost, but yet as a parent, we're like, oh, they can do it. It wasn't that hard. Trust me when I say, parents, please get involved. And if your kids don't want you to be involved, get somebody else to get involved because they can't do it alone. They don't understand debt. And the reality is they can't get enough loans by themselves to do it alone. You have to co-sign. So if you think this is all their problem, truly it is not their problem. So that's the first thing I would say. Secondly, return on investment. I always want people to think about how this is going to play out long term. We talk about what is the student's passion, gifts, talents, what do they want to do as a career? These kids don't learn about this stuff in high school. If they don't learn about it at the dinner table, where will they learn about it? No place, nobody's talking about it. If you have a smart student, then it's assumed they're going to go to a high achieving college. But what if they're fighting for every A and they don't want to be amongst the most aggressive students in the country, right? Or what if that college they barely get into and it's going to cost them full price? That may be setting them up for a really not successful future. So we always talk about academic fit, financial fit, and social fit. And just for your listeners, the most important thing you need to know is the FAFSA, the financial piece of this, looks at the student's second semester of the sophomore year and first semester of the junior year. So if you want to put your house in order and make sure you are in a financially great place, you need to get help that time in your student's career. The federal free money is open to, I have millionaires that have taken advantage of the FAFSA because they have their house in order. It's all ethical, it's written out. We don't do, trust me, I'm not going to jail. I don't want to be there. So everything we do is above board, completely ethical. We don't do the students' work. As a matter of fact, we don't take every student because if they don't want to do the work, it's not a good fit for us. We like to work with students from a 3.3. This year we have a 5.2 and everything in between. Why not less than a 3.3 as we can't get them a free education? And I don't want anybody to pay for our knowledge if we can't do return on investment. So super important as people think about getting help, the cost of hiring somebody you will make 10 times over. This year alone, we got our students $2.2 million in free money. So that small investment, which is the cost of my son's books at Harvard, receives free education, but the student has to do the work. So when your student is ready, that's the best time to get started.
I love it. And when you're saying all this stuff, I'm like, oh gosh, I wish, wish I would have known about you. And yeah, I mean, my husband and I do fairly well financially, and we always thought, there's no way that we can get financial support. And, just, we didn't know what our options were and what the opportunity was. So yeah, so it's all about accessing that knowledge. Well, I understand that you have a book that you kind of outline all of these tips and tricks and information. Can you share a little bit about your gift offer for your book?
Absolutely. So probably one of the most challenging things I've done in my life was to write a book. I don't like to write a blog, right? So now,
right, that you said that. Oh my gosh.
One of my business coaches challenged me, and she said, you need to share this information for students who can't afford this information. And because I lead from a place of service, I absolutely kept the vision of a young student in a third world country who wants to change the trajectory of their life. And so I wrote a book, How to Send Your Student to College Without Losing Your Mind or Your Money. It's right behind me. And it was a bestseller in 24 hours, and it's still on the bestseller list almost 3 years later, because it truly is mind-boggling, and yet it's simplistic. So it is a read that you can easily sit down and get through very quickly. It's a workbook. It's putting the pieces in order. It's everything you need to know what you need to do to strategize and get your student into college and graduate debt free. And so I am happy to give this book as a gift to your families, your women, to help them to know that it is doable and it is possible. And the book is on Amazon. I think it's $15. So I try to keep it very low cost. But for your people, it's absolutely free. So if they want to reach out to, they can either reach me at collegereadyplan@gmail.com.
We actually have a link that
Perfect.
I'm posting in the description here. So we'll have
Excellent.
the link for them to be able to easily access it. But if you would, Shelley, for those women today that really resonated with you and your message, want to connect with you online, or potentially maybe even talk to you about how they can get the support from College Ready for their college student or soon to be college student. Yeah, share with us how folks can connect with you.
So because we don't take every student, we want to make it a really good investment, is what we call it, in your student. We offer a free strategy session. And so if you go to our website, collegereadyplan.com, you sign up for a free strategy session where I pour into your student and help them, a complete stranger, say the exact same thing you're probably saying at home. And they go, whoa, that's amazing. You're like, ah. So
I can relate to that.
they for some reason completely believe what I say. In all honesty, I am fully giving them proper information, but I do that as a gift to them and to your family, because it is important for me that that student knows why they're going to college, what colleges are looking for, and what they can do to get themselves there. Then it's up to them to want to do the work. And I'm sure that for those students who want to do the work, as parents, we want to love and support them and give them everything that we can. So I'm offering a free strategy session to the people who are listening to your Passionista um, Facebook Live.
Awesome. Thank you. That's very generous. Well, wow. We've talked about so many different things. This training has been value packed, but if there's any final words of advice more for the entrepreneur or business owner, any final thoughts or anything coming up for you that you can leave our ladies with today?
Absolutely. You do not know what you do not know.
Mm.
So please seek wisdom. It was game changing for me when I put in process and procedures. I was doing it all right here. And if I disappeared, the whole thing would be gone. So one person, one mentor was able to absolutely change the game for me. So please find out. If you don't know it, go seek wisdom. They will save you so much time and money.
Amen. I absolutely believe that. So true. Thank you so much, Shelley, for sharing your words of wisdom, your expertise, your knowledge as a tremendous business owner, and sharing some expertise around your college ready plan, I guess is what you would call it. And so I encourage you strongly to take advantage of Shelley's free gift offer today. If you really are serious about this and you see the value in investing in a program such as this potentially for your student, take advantage of that free strategy session. That's amazing. And so again, I appreciate your time today, Shelley, and being here with us today. And thank you all for joining us. I hope you have a tremendous week. And until next time, be courageous, take inspired action, and go out there and share your gifts with the world. Bye, everybody.